Saints have a disappointing outing after getting their first win against the New York Giants. My name is Trace Girouard. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports, and this is our instant reaction to the loss to the Patriots. Final score 25-19. The score, however, doesn't really do it justice. In my personal opinion, this is not one of those games where you had a lot of moral victories. This is not one of those games where it's like, you know what? We battled hard, we came through, and it just came up short. Like, this one kind of feels like you got your butts whipped. It feels like the Patriots just took everything that you gave them and you kind of laid an egg. The defense non-existent today. Defensive backs were not able to stop anything. The pass rush was unable to get to Drake Maye. It was a really frustrating game all in all, but that is not going to ever stop us from hanging out here on the channel. We're going to be live every single game day, and we're going to be live every chance we get to talk about this team. Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, so make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. We do not have any crazy injury reports to really share, so that is some pretty good news for what it's worth. But if there is anything that pops up tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, we will make sure you are informed. So subscribe, turn on your notifications, and let's talk about the rest of this game. So all in all, I thought it was really nice to see the very, very first play. 53-yard pass to Chris Olave on the first play of the game. And there's been conversations. The Saints need to get more explosive. They need to find ways to be more explosive. They need to create and generate explosive plays, not just on the offense, but defensively as well. You didn't do that much on defense. Offensively, you wasted no time. 53-yard shot to start the game. Really gets you moving. And then you settled for a field goal. Not great, not ideal, but points nonetheless. And the Saints defense, you started off okay. It really wasn't great after the first drive, though. 53-yard touchdown to Pop Douglas. Maybe I'm outing myself. Who's Pop Douglas? What are we doing here? Why are we making these guys look like they're Randy Moss? Ridiculous. Really frustrating here. The defense, addicted to slow starts. Kellen Moore in his postgame saying that we need to start faster from a defensive perspective. There's been too many weeks where they are starting off in the hole because they can't get stops or because they're giving up too many points early. And, you know, that's just not how you win football games, especially when you're a team like the Saints who don't have a good enough roster to battle yourself and dig yourself out of a hole whenever you dig it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And so frustrating loss is an understatement here. And maybe the emotions and the loss is just too fresh, but I can't sit here and tell you that I am proud of how this team played today because I'm not. You had no pass rush when your defensive line was healthy today. You had no help in coverage whatsoever. Quincy Riley struggled big time. Kool-Aid McKinstry struggled big time. Jonas Sanker struggled big time. The rookies looked like rookies today. Kelvin Banks had some issues. He got banged up on a play, but very quickly went back out on the field, so nothing too crazy to monitor with him. But the rookies looked like rookies. But there was one rookie who we got to see get on the field, and it was really, really nice. Danny Stutzman got to line up and get rotations with the first team next to Mario Davis, and I was excited to see number 28 get on the field. And I'm just going to say it. I don't think that there was any mystery that number 28 gets on the field. Drake Maye sees the neck brace, and that drive fumbles the snap and a fourth down turnover. Maybe Danny Stutzman's a playmaker. Maybe he helps things out. And for what it's worth, Pete Werner did make a handful of really good plays as well. So I don't want to sit here and say Pete Werner was bad. Danny Stutzman got active. It was nice to see him get rotated in. Pete Werner was able to log the team's only sack today, and he was a player that got active on the defense. It's just not enough. And so for me, I kind of interpret this and take this as the Saints are a team that could be looking to deal some players. Maybe they're trying to get Danny Stutzman some more opportunities. Maybe they're trying to get him on the field more often, so that way they could potentially trade away a player like Pete Werner and feel a little bit more comfortable after doing so. I want to talk about Chris Olave. I want to talk about the offense some more because just quite frankly, there's a lot to discuss with this game. Although it was a dud, my opinions are never ending on this loss. They're a better football team. You only lost by one possession, but it feels like it was a much, much worse game. Now, if you want to get a tailgate chair, a new Saints throne, I got the hookup. Click the link in the comments or description of this video. It was a $70 chair. Now it's $49. Chatsports.com/Saints chair. Click the link in the comments or description. I put it right down there for you to make it easy. King of the castle, king of the castle. I have a chair, I have a chair. Be like Borat and get yourself a new throne. Alrighty, Spencer Rattler. Look, I'm going to say this, and by no means is this me saying I hate Spencer Rattler. Some of y'all are just going to interpret it that way. I don't know why, but whatever. I can't tell you what to think. I can just tell you what I think. I don't think Spencer Rattler's been bad, but he's not a game changer at this point for me. And until he starts doing more to prove he is a game changer, I'm really frustrated with it. And I understand that it's not been his fault, and he has no weapons, and he's not getting help, and people are dropping the passes, and the O-line's not protecting him, and blah, 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 blah. I get it, man. I understand it. Rattler has been sort of a bright spot. But let's keep it real here. You got to find out what you got with Shug, because you got to know if you need to draft a quarterback top 3. You're going to be having a top selection, and you have to have the ability to know whether or not you need to target quarterback. Personally, I don't think you need to target quarterback because Rattler has been good enough. I think he's at least bought himself the opportunity to start throughout this entire season. To this point, that can change, obviously, but to this point, I think that he's done enough. But Rattler has had some accuracy issues. He hasn't had a lot of touch on some of these passes. And at some point, we as a fan base and as a team need to stop being okay with 0 touchdown performances. I'm not saying he needs to have a multi-touchdown game every single week, but for the love of God, can we get a couple of them? Like, honest question. I'm going to go through the game log here, Lopez. For Spencer Rattler, he has had one game this season where he's had more than 1 touchdown, and it was against the Niners, and it was that 3-touchdown game, which was awesome. But guess what? You still lost. I'm not saying that Tyler Shuck needs to go in next week. I'm not saying he needs to start with the first team at practice on this upcoming week, but it's getting to a point where it's hard to justify mediocrity. And I'm not going to apologize for desiring more than mediocrity. This has always been a season that was going to be long. This has always been a season that's going to be a problem. And this has always been a season where you just need to learn how to win games. The Saints are not there yet. This is not a ref show. I mean, it was a ref show for what it's worth, but it's not like the Saints were getting screwed on every call. Saints had calls go their way. The Patriots had calls go their way. This was not a refs favored one team. This was simply the Patriots are further along in their rebuild. They have their franchise guy. They have their head coach. They have some of their weapons in place. They're on the right path to being a good team. I think next year, this is where the Saints could be. We're just not there yet. And unfortunately, again, it just wasn't good enough. Chris Olave, 6 catches today, almost 100 yards. It's 2 yards short. Had a couple passes go right through his hands. Had a couple passes pop out of his hands because it was an accurate throw. Had a few that just unacceptable. Do you trade Chris Olave? What do you do with him? In my opinion, he's not a player who has earned a very, very lucrative payday. And I'm a Chris Olave fan. I'm a Chris Olave supporter. My most recent Saints jersey was a gold Chris Olave one. I want him to be the guy. I want him to save my team. I want him to have a great career. At some point, man, you got to be realistic. And if you can get a third, that's going to be hard to say no to. Just going to keep it real with you. I like 12, but it's just, in my opinion, if you're not going to pay him and extend him, you need to get something in return. That's just my personal opinion. Juwan Johnson. Oh, I am a Juwan Johnson defender. I've done it many, many times. I'm done with that now. Very, very bad fumble. For what it's worth, really, really good punch out by the Patriots defense on the football. And unfortunately, the Patriots win the challenge, get the ball back, And you're not getting enough from the tight end room. You're not getting enough from the receivers. You're not getting enough in terms of the weapons. So no wonder Spencer Rattler is struggling. But also, Spencer Rattler is somewhat to blame as well on this. Alvin Kamara, 10 carries, 31 yards. Cool. Awesome. He doesn't want to go anywhere. We're not going to talk about trading him. He specifically was asked by Mickey Loomis, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to stay. And I think that's the right thing to do for players like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara. Those three players, in my opinion, deserve the opportunity to make a decision on whether or not they want to be dealt. Outside of that, I don't think there should be too many players that are, untouchable. Rashid Shaheed, that's my sweet prince, so not him. But anyone else, I think, should be tradable. Kendre Miller, this wasn't even one of those games where, the eye test really helped him out. Sure, a little bit. Not good enough, man. This just was all over the board. A dud. It was a swing and a miss. It was disappointing, to say the least. And Quincy Riley, your rookie, he's had a strong start. He was bad today. He was bad. Saints defense as a whole was bad, but he was bad. Chase Young, 1 tackle. Had a ton of pressures. Give him a lot of credit. The New Orleans Saints might lead the NFL in almost sacks, especially on third down. Chase Young had a plethora of those today, but that's what the theme was last year. A lot of almost sacks, a lot of pressures, but not a lot of production. So this is one of those tough games. I don't have a single person to point the finger at. I think Rattler is somewhat to blame. I think the offensive weapons are something to blame. I think the defense was something to blame. The Saints have a ton of issues, and if I'm New Orleans, I'm addressing the defensive backs first and foremost. And then I'm also getting some more weapons for my quarterback because this is just not going to cut it. I want you to answer the question. Dying over here because I'm so tired of the Saints losing. What's the biggest issue for New Orleans? What's the biggest issue? Is it coaching, quarterback play, bad roster? What is it? I think there's a lot of problems. My biggest issue is just they don't have all their pieces together yet. It's a long process to build it up. Here we are. Scores around the league. The Panthers, they are having an interesting season. It's really weird what they're doing. They beat the Cowboys today. The Colts end up beating the Cardinals. Daniel Jones continues to be the best storyline in all of the NFL right now. The Colts are absolutely a wagon. Did not have that on my bingo card. It's incredible how they keep winning games. The Ravens lost. They are beat up, and they are starting to get really, really thin along their roster. The Steelers today took down the Browns 23-9. Mike McDaniel loses again. I think he is massively on the hot seat. The Chargers end up winning that matchup. And then 20-12 ball game for the Seahawks over the Jaguars. And in the afternoon slate, we're putting this video out here a little bit after the game. Here's what the scores are around the league at this point. Definitely want to pay attention to this Bucs 49ers game. I think that's going to be a really fun one to watch. The Buccaneers have been very impressive thus far, but they're missing a handful of their weapons. So Baker Mayfield's going to need to find a way to get creative and win that matchup. He's a baller and he's a gamer, so I believe he can. But then you also got the Lions and Chiefs game. You got Bengals, Packers. You got Raiders, Titans. That right there is the toilet bowl of all games this week. And here we are. Let me know if you guys enjoyed today's video by hitting the sub button. Lock us in for more content. We'll be live Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time. Overreaction Monday coming out in the morning, and we'll have you guys squared away. So make sure you hit the sub button. Turn on your notifications. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.